Om Bhurбhuvah-svah Tatsavitur-varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo yo nah prachodayantam. Saram, everyone. We continue our discussion on life, message, and philosophy of our beloved Swami Sri Sathya Sai. And today, let us think, contemplate very interesting question. And the question goes like that: how can we understand that our beloved Swami is the divine incarnation? Okay, there are millions of Sai devotees, but at the same time, all over the world, there are many good and religious people who may belong to the different traditions, and they question us as Sai devotees, how can we prove that Sathya Sai Baba was the divine incarnation of our age? And point is that this impossible to prove logically. To understand this truth about our beloved Swami possible only as a result of deep meditation and sometimes spontaneous mystical revelation. Of course, some people really meditate for years before they can realize divinity of our beloved Swami. For some people, that's happened absolutely spontaneously, without any spiritual background. It's a personal story of each and every devotee. But what is common for everyone who understood the truth about Sri Sathya Sai? The common point is that there is no any logic in that. That is purely heart experience. Some Sai devotees sometimes try their best to explain to friends or just to somebody and prove that Sathya Sai is the divine incarnation. But the problem is that if you try to use logic, those people who are not ready to accept it, they always have their own logic to prove that Sathya Sai was not the divine incarnation. Actually, it's painful to mention, but there are people who even critically speak about our beloved Swami, even accuse him that he was just pretending that he was the divine incarnation. And that's the problem, that any kind of proof, meaningless, useless, because that's just logic. Just let us think about Krishna, Buddha, Jesus the Christ. Even now, many centuries, and better to say many thousands of years after Krishna and Buddha and Jesus, so many people who are denying that all those great avatars of the past really existed. In the West and in India as well, there are many spiritual teachers even who are trying to explain Krishna as not historical personality, but just as the symbolical something, or Jesus the Christ not as historical teacher, but just as symbol of grace and enlightenment. It's very sad, actually, approach, because for us it's obvious that Sathya Sai was real incarnation on physical plan. The same way Krishna, Buddha and Jesus thousands of years ago. But how can we now prove that Krishna, Buddha, and Jesus were the divine incarnations? How can we prove? And actually, logically, it's impossible. You can try to speak about, let's say, miracles, let's say, powers, let's say, huge compassions, wisdom. But, if somebody wished to fight and argue with you or me, that somebody also can prove that whatever, miracles are not reason to believe. Maybe there is no any miracles, maybe they're just tricks, maybe just rumors. That's trick of the mind. That's poor limitations of logic. So let us meditate. Let us experience grace. And that grace which we always experience when we concentrate our mind and heart on our beloved Swami, that grace is the proof. Of course, I remember back in 90s when I was Sathya Sai translator for the Russian-speaking group. I remember that sometimes people could come to Put Party, meet Swami, and feel nothing, experience nothing. Unfortunately, that's also part of our story and history. But everyone, each and every devotee who is open-hearted, who is open-minded, who is sensitive enough, of course, able to experience this divine vibration. And let us not to judge those wonderful people who can't experience this at the moment. Because who knows, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a few years, those people who are denying Swami today can become devotees as well. Because it's always happened in a proper moment. When you are ready to experience. Sairam, see you next time.
Om Bhurбhuvasvaham Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayandam